Also, though, newer couch. Couch a few words.
No, I ain't got no problems.
Then freeze.
It was just funny.
Yo, I'm gonna break this couch up. I'm telling y'all, this iteration of y'all is getting broken up.
I know.
You do know?
I peeped. No, I peeped.
It's 100% coming.
I peeped.
Okay.
I already see the play.
Yeah, because y'all two together, boy.
We've got to talk about the Joe Budden podcast and the way Joe's been moving with his co-hosts, on and off mic. Dang, just last week I was on Ice's neck for how reckless he was talking to Queen's Flip, and y'all ran that video up, I see you. But then Joe flips the script and basically tells them, I'm about to split y'all up because I'm tired of y'all Newark dudes not bringing anything to the table. He said they show up unprepared, stuck on buffoonery and a couple of recycled Twitter takes from Ice about whatever's trending. And while I was scrolling through Patreon comments like I always do, somebody, I think her name was Katrina, shout out to you, said that couch over there is giving bare minimum boys. And I said, hold up, she's not wrong. But here's the crazy part. When Joe used to throw that bare minimum line at Rory and Mal, they weren't even on the show anymore. And now he's calmly telling his current castmates to their faces that they're not even trying. He basically told them, y'all don't put your best foot forward. You just show up and coast because of relationships outside the pod. And then boom, perfect example right at the top of the episode. Apparently, Ice proposed to his girl on Valentine's Day, and I don't even follow him like that, but they brought it up on the show. Parks was hinting heavy, talking about love in the air, the diamond shining, not just Ice iced out, but his lady too. Clear setup for a moment. And instead of leaning into it, Ice hit them with, y'all know I don't do that, that ain't me. What? You literally posted it. When you're on a platform like JBP and you share something that big, the audience is gonna tie it back to the show and expect some words. I might not personally care if you're engaged or not, but the listeners do. And when they tried to get you to open up, you had nothing. Then minutes later, you're kikiing off mic, but once the spotlight hits, it's crickets. So what are we doing here? And then I says, what's understood doesn't need to be explained. Huh? Joe basically pays you to talk. Joe basically said, I literally pay you to do this, and when I finally shine the spotlight your way, you've got nothing to say. You could hear the frustration in his voice when he broke it down. Like, I laid it all out. Now why are you trying to flip it back on me? He was confused because from his perspective, he spoke and now it's your turn. But the response was, I don't have anything to add. So let me understand this. When it's time to clown the boss, the man cutting the checks, suddenly y'all have endless jokes and energy for days. That's when the mics are hot and the laughs are loud. But when it's time to bring real topics or drive the conversation, it's crickets. That's exactly why Mark has been subtly calling it out for months. Like, if y'all actually wrote topics on the board, you wouldn't be squinting at Joe's handwriting or cracking jokes about what's legible. Ice's handwriting apparently nice behind the scenes, we've heard that, but we'll never know because he's not putting anything up there. Ish isn't writing either, and he's barely keeping up with current events. He's coasting. Joe even said before, I wish I could just show up, be myself, do nothing extra, and still be one of the most loved co-hosts on a top podcast, and somehow that got taken as a compliment. Meanwhile, all of this is happening at the worst time with Queen's Flip on vacation. Joe didn't bring in Mona or Imani to fill the gap. That alone should have been a message. With Flip gone, the energy drops, and instead of lifting it, they seem to deflate whoever tries. Now it's Mark catching that same Mean Girls treatment, like, we see how you move. Yeah, because he's trying to make the show better while y'all play too cool for school. And then Ice says he doesn't want his daughter to be a nail tech. Okay, but what example are you setting? I hate when podcasters talk down on everyday people, like we're not the reason they get to live like this. None of y'all are that far removed from regular life, let's be real, except maybe Mark Lamont Hill and possibly Ish. The audience isn't invisible. We were invested in Rory and Sam's relationship. We cared about what Mal had going on outside the show. But Ice and Ish, y'all have been here nearly 5 years and still feel surface level. And yet, the audience still isn't really buying into y'all like that. Still, folks stay curious about Ish's family precisely because he refuses to put them on display. But listen to this. I promise you, the second he actually opened that door, the intrigue would drop and the mystique wouldn't hit the same. That whole private and mysterious angle, girl, that's intentional. It's strategic. How you gonna flip the script on millions of supporters like they didn't help build this platform? Talking about, I don't get into that, I don't engage, I don't pay attention. When hold up, we're the reason you even have the luxury to ignore anything in the first place.
And now you can see Joe slowly clocking all of it. Ice is really what sparked this whole firestorm because of how aggressive he came at Flip, not realizing a big chunk of the audience actually rocks with Flip heavy, even after he stepped back from the pod. And now, every episode, you see the comments lighting up with the same energy. Why is Ice here? What exactly does he add? And I said it back when it first went down, and I'm standing on it again. Ice, you might want to break bread with Flip because he exposed the weak spot. What do you truly bring to the table? If someone needs real estate advice, they call Ish. If Joe's needed for studio insight or music business moves, he's got that lane. Ice, if somebody needs a tweet, then what? We're not tuning in week after week just to hear an average voice talk down like he's above other average voices, like he's operating on some higher tier. The reason he pressed Flip so hard, and take this as a life lesson, is because that Breakfast Club conversation hit a nerve. When Flip mentioned that situation, it wasn't random. It revealed exactly how Ice is perceived. And that frustration you saw, that's what happens when truth lands too close to home. Even if Ice had landed a seat at the Breakfast Club, if you replaced the current lineup, the show wouldn't feel the same. Let's be real, the cultural weight wouldn't carry like it does now. That's the point Flip was making, and deep down, I think Ice knows it. And now Joe is starting to notice. The worst possible scenario for Ice, and this is where the audience power really comes in, is Joe actually deciding to listen to the viewers. Because if Joe starts moving based on public sentiment, that changes everything. The fact that splitting y'all up is even being floated, that's not random. The fact that it's a real discussion tells you the feedback is landing. Some of those comments aren't just noise. Some of them are making sense. A few words can shift a whole room. That's wild. But I need to hear from y'all in the comments. If you're feeling this breakdown, tap that like button. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. And if you've been rocking with me, you already know the vibe.